Hello, this is Fernando Espuelas. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for being with me. We'll continue our conversation about immigration in just a little bit, but now, as we're doing before the election, I want to introduce you to a very promising congressional candidate so you can meet them and hear what they have to say. I'm talking about Jason Ritchie from Washington State. He's running for the 8th Congressional District. Mr. Ritchie, welcome to the program.
Thank you for the opportunity, Fernando.
Well, sir, my opening question is always the same. Why are you running for Congress?
I'm running for Congress because I believe we deserve a better representation than we have right now in Congress. I'm tired of the gridlock. I'm tired of the shutdowns. I'm working for to support a fully employed middle class being paid a living wage. I'm a strong supporter of comprehensive immigration reform. And I believe the people we have now in Congress, specifically the House Republicans and my opponent, Dave Reichert, are simply causing more problems. They're stopping progressive, positive legislation and stopping job growth. And I'm not going to let it stand up anymore, and I'm going to hold them accountable.
Now, sir, you're an entrepreneur. You've built a really interesting business. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I do. I'm a general contractor by trade. I have a small business, Handy Habitats. We do accessible construction, wheelchair ramps, lifts, grab bars. We help people be at home safe when they have a physical challenge that they essentially get hurt or injured at work. We help them live at home comfortably. We work with families a lot and help people get discharged from hospitals. It's been a labor of love. It was a family emergency that we had to address. My father had a stroke, and essentially health insurance stopped, then the hospital stopped, and we had, as a family, we had to rally around my father to help him create some accessibility and to get his life back going on the right track. And that turned into my business, and that's helped me help members of my community achieve accessibility at home. And part of that business is working with the Small Business Administration and getting those SBA loans that help small business owners grow their business and get out there and market and buy more products and invigorates the economy. And when the shutdown happened last year and Congressman Reichert supported that shutdown over and over and over again, it cost me money. And that inspired me to get in there and hold him accountable and to try to fight for small business owners like me.
So, and that was going to be my next question. As a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as someone who creates jobs as opposed to sits in Washington and goes to lunch a lot, have you ever heard the justification from Congressman Reichert for why shutting down the United States government, which is not a constitutional action, was beneficial to the 8th District in Washington?
I don't think he hasn't presented an answer because there isn't one. While I would understand if he was opposed to the Affordable Care Act, I know many people that are, and I know it needs work, it needs some modifications, and I agree with that. But there are 26 million people in this country now covered with health insurance that Congressman Reichert and House Republicans refuse to acknowledge as that being an incredibly important aspect of the Affordable Care Act. It hurt 1 million people just in my state, in Washington State. There are people that need the access for disability payments, VA payments, Social Security. All these things are essential components that the federal government provides our community. And when the shutdown happened, all those things, and the small business loans, all those things stopped cold over a partisan political issue. It proved to me that people like Dave Reichert and Republicans in the House of Representatives are nothing but extremists that are not interested in moving anything forward of substance, and that's why I'm running, to hold them accountable and to try to get something done, put progress before partisanship in Washington, D.C.
So from that perspective of being an entrepreneur, which is one of the hardest things to do and create jobs, we know small businesses are the largest creators of jobs in this country. What's your vision for the future? What in an ideal, which I know doesn't ever exist, but in an ideal world, what do you think the Congress should focus on? Maybe 3 things that you think are critical.
Essentially. Jobs. Let's put it that way. I believe in a very simple idea. A fully employed middle class being paid a living wage pays down our debts and supports our social safety net. We need to reward work over wealth. For too long, the Republican Party, specifically my opponent Dave Reichert and the House GOP, have treated tax cuts as though they're just some magic elixir, that they're just going to fix everything. You don't throw seeds into a field and hope that your crops grow. Just walk away and just hope for the best. You cultivate good agricultural. You cultivate these things. You turn the field. You irrigate. You fertilize. This is what our federal government, what I believe, what I would like to do, and how I built my business. You have to cultivate a climate where jobs are being created. And by saying that, I mean a federal grant and loan program, infrastructure reinvestment, roads, jobs, construction jobs, small to middle class living wage jobs coming in to build the dams, bridges, roads, schools that businesses want to come and build their business around. My community, we chose our community because they were building new schools, building new bridges, building new roads, and investing in infrastructure. The federal government can do that. The austerity program, the tax cuts, just hoping for the best by the Republican Party, I don't think they know how to create jobs at all, frankly. I think they're more interested in just sitting down their hands and letting the economy sputter along. We need inspirational leadership in the Congress to help our president and the Democrats in the Senate put forth a strong jobs plan that puts people back to work now and that builds up our middle class, and that will in turn encourage businesses like mine to come in and hire more people. Just sitting there watching Republicans do nothing is just exacerbating.
Mr. Ritchie, you sound like Dwight Eisenhower, who wanted to build infrastructure across the country so that businesses could be successful.
If we don't do this, Fernando, I'm worried. I have two sons. My son's 4 and 9, and I'm worried about them. I'm concerned. You can only try as hard as you can as a dad to try to instill them with good values. And I'm doing that. My wife and I do that every day. But if we don't have a globally competitive school, if we don't have a community that's all geared together towards progress, towards middle-class living wage jobs, and focusing more on building the community rather than this idea of, close our door, we're just not acknowledging our neighbor. And a lot of it has to do with immigration reform. Right there, we're talking about issues that we could be building these issues together. We could be talking about building another generation of skilled laborers to compete globally. But instead, we let the Republicans dictate the terms of the argument, and they're more happy just to see people ignore each other and fear each other rather than work together towards competing globally.
I've been speaking to Jason Ritchie. He is candidate for Washington State's 8th Congressional District. Mr. Ritchie, thank you so much for spending this time with us, and good luck in the campaign trail.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.